Hey guys, Jeff here, and we have been waiting for almost 2, maybe 3 years for this movie to come to 4K, but it's finally time to review Heat on 4K UHD here from Disney and Fox Home Entertainment. Hey everyone, so thanks for coming back to the channel today for this review. Like I said, we're going to be diving into Heat on 4K. This releases on August 9th, so I'm a little bit early for you here with this review to give you guys an idea on the audio and video quality here. We'll talk packaging and special features, and ultimately the goal of this review will be to give you a recommendation on whether or not you need to upgrade from your Blu-ray copy, which I have mine here, and go to this new 4K. So Heat comes to us finally on 4K after many delays. I think there were maybe 2 or 3, confirmed dates. Heat was going to happen on 4K. I talked about it years ago, and it kept getting delayed and it kept getting pushed off. Part of that was because of the Disney-Fox merger, but finally we have this Disney-branded Ultimate Collector's Edition from 20th Century Studios. Now they've removed the Fox from that, but for all intents and purposes, this is a Disney disc. This is a Disney 4K disc. Now, because of that, Disney only plays with 66 gigabyte 4K discs. They do not do any 100 gigabyte 4K discs for a decent business reason. The 100 gigabyte discs do tend to have problems on some cheaper players, on some video game consoles. They can skip, freeze, and so instead of trying to deal with that and dealing with complaints, Disney has just made sure that all of their 4K discs go to 66 gigs. Now, that's not usually an issue, but for a 3-hour movie like Heat, that's where I think they really could have gone to a 100 gigabyte disc to get better quality. So picture quality wise, this is a new HDR color grade from an existing 4K scan. Now, if you own this edition here, the definitive director's edition on Blu-ray, which I own, that came out back in, I want to say 2017, right? So that's about 5 years old at this point. That was the new 4K transfer. Michael Mann supervised it, he went over it, and they released that 4K master to Blu-ray. So now what we're getting on the 4K disc is the same 4K transfer, we're getting true 4K resolution, and we're adding in HDR. So on the 4K disc, you can see some minor detail upgrades. There isn't a huge difference in quality because, again, they're both great 4K masters, and the Blu-ray disc is 49 gigs and this one is 65. So they're very close in file size, which means that the compression wasn't too far off. The grain resolves a little bit better here because it is 4K. It has more pixels. It can resolve grain a little bit better. It has a higher bit rate and less compression than the Blu-ray. But I have to say, to the average viewer, to the average Joe who's going to pick this up on 4K, you are probably not going to notice much difference between the way that this looks on 4K and the way that the 4K mastered 1080p version looked from 2017. Now, since they're almost identical when it comes to just the scan, the big area where Disney and 20th Century Studios could have upgraded this is with the HDR color grade. And unfortunately, I don't really like the way that they handled HDR with this release. In fact, I've talked about this before, where sometimes there's really good HDR color grading done on different movies, and sometimes it feels like somebody applied an Instagram filter across the entire image. And unfortunately for me, Heat felt like an Instagram filter. Basically, it looks like they made it darker and they turned up the coolness of the image so it's more blue, gray, really kind of dreary and dark looking, versus the Blu-ray, which granted has the same color scheme because this movie is a very blue-gray movie, but it's a little bit brighter. You can see it in some of the screenshots. If you look at the ocean here, the ocean on the 4K disc is much darker and almost gray compared to a nice blue that we got on the Blu-ray. You'll also see it in the sky. The sky is blue versus gray, and you'll see in some of the darker scenes that they really have cranked up the darkness and kind of applied this dark filter over the top of the entire image throughout the movie, and I think it's a bit detrimental gentle. In this case, it doesn't feel like they really went back and did a sort of frame by frame color grade. It feels like they kind of just applied this on top. And so for a lot of people, I think you will see the complaint that, hey, this is too dark, this doesn't look good, and it's not what I expected. So overall, if we're talking pure picture quality here, we'll dive into audio in a second. The picture quality on this is good. It's a good disc because the 4K transfer that was done for Blu-ray was so good. But the upgrade and the difference between 4K and Blu-ray, for me, is negligible when it comes to detail, quality, the sharpness of the image. A little bit better grain structure, but the color is actually a negative, and I prefer the Blu-ray. So, if this was me, I would stick with my Blu-ray disc, and I wouldn't upgrade to 4K, and there are other reasons why, but picture-wise, I prefer the 1080p and I prefer the color grading there to the 4K disc. So unfortunately, this one's a bit of a miss here from Disney, which sucks because this is one I know a lot of you guys have really been looking forward to and been waiting on for years, but I just don't think it's going to get much better than what you had on Blu-ray. This 4K adds a little bit in terms of detail, but it just doesn't take the next step where it warrants a $25 investment. Now, the other reason why I would stick with my Blu-ray is because for audio, we're not getting an upgrade. There's no Atmos, there's no DTS-X, there's no 7.1. It's the same 5.1 DTS HD master audio that you get on your 2017 Blu-ray. Now, I want to clarify that that 5.1 track is excellent. It's one of the best 5.1 tracks that I've ever heard. It was one of the best when it came out. It still is one of the best. It's an amazing audio track. And yeah, while Atmos may have added a little bit something extra, it probably would have been gimmicky, and I would have wanted to make sure that Michael Mann had some oversight there and his team had oversight, because the 5.1, in my opinion, is mixed so perfectly that I'd be afraid that they'd actually screw it up by trying to add more channels. They did a really, really good job, and the audio is super strong. Everything from effects to surround to dialogue to bass. It's a great overall track. However, buying the 4K doesn't get you anything better. So if you have the 2017 Blu-ray, you're getting the exact same audio experience. This is also true for special features. There are no new special features. Luckily, everything is ported over from the 2017 Blu-ray, but it's only available on the Blu-ray disc. The 4K only has an audio commentary. Everything else is on the included Blu-ray in the combo pack. So the only real difference outside of the picture quality is the packaging, and you do get the new like Ultimate Collector's Edition package here. You get some different artwork compared to what you got here on the Blu-ray release. This is, you know, I don't know if it's better or worse, you know, up to you. You get the slipcover on the inside, same artwork, and then you do add some artwork on the 4K disc. Blu-ray disc included here, exactly the same as the 2017. It's the definitive edition Blu-ray disc. So if you do buy the 4K, you can certainly trade in your Blu-ray because you will get a copy of that within your new combo pack. So overall, these two are very, very close. And I'm not sure how easy it is to get this Blu-ray copy from 2017 of Heat, but I would say it's probably fairly available. If it's out of print, it's probably still fairly available to buy used. I know you can get it for, I've seen it for like $5 or $7. The new 4K of Heat's gonna run you $25, and what you're getting there is a slightly minuscule upgrade on picture quality and a new HDR color grade. I just didn't like the new color grade, and I do think it is too dark, which is a common complaint with HDR that I kind of rail against a lot of times and say, you know, it's not too dark, it's actually more depth. In this instance, I do think it's just too dark, and it looks like a filter has been applied to the entire image, and it wasn't kind of skillfully gone through scene by scene to get a better color grade, which is why, if I had to recommend one, I would recommend the original Blu-ray from 2017 with that 4K master. You're getting near the same level of quality. Most people, 99% of you, will not notice the difference between the two. It's a better color grade, same audio track, same special features, and you know, you still get a slipcover and some decent packaging if that's what you're worried about. But this is one instance where you could probably save your $25 and put it towards another release where you might get more bang for your buck, unfortunately. So thanks for watching this review. Now, whether you want to buy the 4K or that 2017 Blu-ray, I'm going to provide you with links in the description. If you use those links, that help support my channel, so I do appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow us on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. All the different places you can find me are in the video description, as well as links to all of our different partners and people who support my channel. So by supporting them, you support me and my content, and I really do appreciate that. So thank you for watching this review today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I will talk to you all soon.